Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball. Game7baseball.com. Register your team today. Get into your favorite tournament. I got next to me my good buddy, Mitch Thomas, from the hitting zone.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Doubles and Dingers over here.
Not anymore.
Maybe you need to go talk with Shane.
Well, I'm sitting on the bucket.
Oh, you're sitting on the bucket there.
Yeah, buddy. I'm sitting on those buckets. My body don't react like if I swung that hard, I probably don't get out of the box.
And we're joined, as always, by our good friend over at Premier Hitting Development, Shane Eames. We've been talking with him a little bit. We're going through his outline here that has set this in motion. He's got a lot of players having a lot of success right now. One included that we've talked about, Braxton Martinez, where we were over there. Big shout out to Braxton. He's at the AA. What's the name of that team? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
The Rock City Trash Pandas.
Trash. Who come up with that name?
I have no idea, but I love it.
I think minor league baseball is so fun. Their logos are awesome. Some of the stuff that they come up with is people who love big league stuff. You have to go out there and see these things. The Corpus Christi hooks, they have them or whatever, and then they got the weird, one-off hats for Halloween and the stuff that they just do at the minor league level for the fans. You have got to go check out minor league baseball. It is so fun. So much fun.
Shane, you were getting ready to say something. Go ahead, man.
Just the entertainment value of minor league baseball is absolutely fantastic from a fan's perspective. I just think that it's affordable, it's fun, it's interactive, and it's great baseball. You're
closer to the product too, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, for $15-20, you're sitting in prime seating, and the stadium staff will come pull kids out. They'll pull them on the field. They play games. They throw out first pitches. They get prizes, and it's just a really good environment for the kids and fans in general.
I dig it. We did that back when the kids were little. I lived in Wichita, and we'd go see the Wichita Wranglers, Texas League, and saw Carlos Beltran, because at the time they were a Kansas City affiliate.
Yeah, that's a dude.
So, saw some guys, because the Dodgers affiliate was in San Antonio at the time, and they came up and played, saw some guys that were up at the big club with the Dodgers. You'll see those future stars. I think both you guys' points are well taken. I love the atmosphere, the energy of that. It's really good. And we've got over here, I know it's independent, but still, you got the O'Fallon Hoots. Go check them out.
Absolutely.
That's where Braxton, he was with at the time.
Yes.
The River City Rascals, right?
Yes, sir. That's where he got his first opportunity in independent ball, and he made a lot of progress from year 1 to year 2. Year 3, he's going MVP, and now he's in affiliated baseball and chasing the dream, and hopefully be in the big league soon.
There you go, man.
Yeah, it seems like the Frontier League has had a little bit of success on getting guys from indie baseball into professional, affiliated ball. At least in the last few years, you've seen some River City guys, to get there. So don't sleep on indie ball. Don't sleep on minor league baseball. That's for sure. I will say more than anything, the player experience there for young kids. The athletes they love the young kids. They will take time after a game, pregame, go to the screen and sign baseballs, have conversations with kids. I love minor league baseball. I just love it. Still pure.
Let's get into some talk here. We've been going through the outline here that Shane worked on, who's built. It's based on how he teaches in Premier Hitting Development. And when you're talking about swing mechanics, and I like how you started this, because, the naked eye, we're always looking with the naked eye. We're seeing somebody. And as you were talking here, it's something I've said because I believe these things are basically true. Every swing is the same, except for how you start. I mean, if you watched Craig Counsell you would never think, I can't do that, because you can't.
Right. I mean, people see, bland things in the swing, their setup, their stride, the finished product of the swing. But when you really are able to delve into the swing through video analysis and break down certain aspects of the movement patterns, that's where you really see why guys playing at a high level are very special. Not only they're athletic, but they understand the load, they understand the sequencing in the swing, and they apply it with their athleticism, and that's that. But the big thing that I work on with everybody is we have a number of different video sessions where we just kind of break down the swing in certain aspects and get them to understand that, what they do is highly sequential, and not getting their body to the right position will not allow the sequence to happen correctly. So, people do look at, Craig Counsell and guys with weird types of setups, but what you see is every hitter gets to the right loaded launch position to allow the sequencing to happen. So it's from a stylistic standpoint, it doesn't matter how you really set up. Guys with hands low, hands high, barrel where, barrel there, but they get to the right loaded launch and they're able to fire off in the right sequence.
And I think that really speaks to what are they comfortable with, how they start, correct?
Right, absolutely. I mean, you have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then your mindset is not there. So it just takes a certain amount of time and effort to kind of find what you feel is right stylistically. We don't cookie cutter kids. If they're comfortable with a handset, as long as the grip's right, the arm alignment's right, the wrist alignment's right, if they want to be slightly open, they want to be narrow, they want to be a little bit wider, do what you do. But as long as you can get to the right position and fire off the swing in the right sequence, which, for me is the top down, not the bottom up, based on the principles that we were taught, then everything starts to fire in the right order.
Yeah, I some of the things that I got out of that was feel. He talked about being comfortable in whatever position you're hitting in, whether you're the old Jeff Bagwells of the days, the Barry Bonds, the Jose Batistas, these guys that have all the different tools. They, like you said, you get to a loaded launch position, and it's a feel. You have to feel good, right? Every new lesson I get, I watch and I say, where do you feel the best at? And they'll move their hands to wherever they would, and it's completely different than what they were hitting with before. And you have to feel good. And that's kind of what I get out of the stuff that Shane talks about is that feel. Yeah. And we preach that a ton.
Goldschmidt has got a very unconventional setup. And people refer back to me. Let's watch Paul Goldschmidt. Why does he do what he does? Well, that feels good to him. He's comfortable in that setup. But once you get him to the loaded launch position, he's the same as pretty much everybody else.
Yep.
And if you look up and down that Cardinal lineup, like you said, everybody pretty much starts differently. Nobody looks the same. And I think that is kind of the awkwardness just with the naked eye that most people feel, and they're trying to emulate somebody, but it isn't maybe comfortable, but that's how Paul Goldschmidt does it, right?
Oh, we did it. I mean, growing up, man, I would stylistically, pattern myself out of different hitters that I really enjoyed to watch and just tried to get myself to understand, what makes this stance better? What makes this setup a little bit better? And it's fun for me. We go through different stuff like that. But once the kids kind of identify what they feel is their best setup and apply that with a proper load forward, apply that with a proper stretch and getting to the launch position, the swing starts to sequence and take off on its own. But I pride myself on not cookie cuttering. Every kid is individual. Every kid's a different type of athlete. Some guys are more fast twitch. Some guys move the body easier than others, and you really just have to kind of find that sweet spot and let them meld that into what they want to do. Because when you force a kid to do, a certain setup or a stance and they don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel comfortable there, you're not going to feel comfortable with your mindset. So you're thinking a lot. So it takes away the adage of just see it and hit it. So, stay simple.
Yeah.
I need the KISS system a lot.
Well,
my theory on that is an empty mind is a full bat. The more you fill your mind up, the less full your bat is.
I see that way too often. I mean, coaching at Timberland, we have boys there that obviously can play. They're super athletic young men, and still what gets them is the mind.
Yeah.
The skill set's there, the movements are there. They're gifted young men, and again, it's between the ears.
Yeah.
And everything else, they lose it.
I always kind of go, well, I don't always, but I saw this a while back, and it's been a video from a few years ago. I don't know the time frame. I saw it on YouTube. But Pete Rose was on an MLB show with Alex Rodriguez and Frank Thomas. Did you see this one?
I remember vividly. Yep.
What Pete Rose was talking about there was just unbelievable. And he was, and even Alex Rodriguez was like, I would have never done that, Pete. Because Pete was talking about, if I need to do this, I'll move up in the box, I'll move back, I'll move in, I'll move out, I'll do this. But Pete was so confident in his swing that it didn't matter. He adjusted to what was being done. And it was amazing because Alex Rodriguez, whatever you may think of him as that, was a really good hitter.
Very good hitter.
Frank Thomas is standing there, and neither one of them was doing that. But the amount of information that Pete stored there and then took to the plate, and I don't know if you emulate Pete Rose's swing, and his stance was different than a lot of guys, but again,
absolutely.
But I think it
worked for Pete, and he was the all-time hit leader. It really worked for Pete. He was unconventional. George Brett, unconventional. Why is the bat on his shoulder? Well, George Brett had a lot of success with the bat on his shoulder. Simple, Paul Molitor, same way. Simple setup, simple approach. Less is a lot more at times. And the busier the load gets, I think it's harder to sequence the body. So, if they can come up with a simple setup and a simple approach and get to the right loaded launch, I think they're going to be pretty successful. But it's just understanding that the differences in style. You'll see a bigger leg kick versus a smaller leg kick, a toe tap versus a nose stride, a stride to a nose stride. Whatever works best for them. You see so many different setups and approaches at the big league level, the minor league level, the college level. But it's more of a trial and error process. It's finding what works for them and letting them apply it. So, for us, we try to do that as much as possible and give them freedom to set themselves up in a comfortable position and let the absolutes apply.
And both you guys do, hit lessons and things like that. So when you're talking about these things, we're not even to the actual mechanics yet. We're just talking about the approach, getting in the box, getting yourself set, getting yourself comfortable.
Right.
Go ahead, Shane.
And here's what is undervalued and not worked on enough is the setup, making sure the grip alignment is correct, the arm alignment is correct, the load, the stretch is correct. People prioritize swings more than the setup and the load, but if the setup and the load are not right, the sequence of the swing is not going to be right. I do a swing prep for a lot of my high-level kids that'll come in. It's an hour program. The first half hour they show up to, they don't even hit a ball. They do mirror work. They do band work. They do different PVC-type drills, barrel turn drills, heavy bag work. You have to prep the body and understand the load and the stretch and the sequencing of the barrel turn, the tilt, the hand pivot, and then they step into the cage and we execute a plan for that day for another half hour. But people undervalue how important the load and the forward move is. What makes a pitcher successful? Repeatable delivery. Well, what makes a hitter successful? Repeatable approach. And if you can't repeat the load right and the coil forward right, you will not be successful on a consistent basis. So for me, I don't prioritize the swing as much as I prioritize the load and the forward move. Because if you don't get to the right loaded launch, you will not sequence your swing on a consistent basis. It will be manipulated.
I think that's what the hardest thing to do when we say hitting's hard. I think it's hard because we're not consistent. The law of averages is how I look at this stuff. And as if we can consistently be 10 out of 10 with our mechanics or, your loaded launch, getting in those positions 10 out of 10 times, I will have success, which is failure, right? I mean, 3 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. That is the ultimate success. I want to get in a position to barrel a ball and get lucky. It's 1 against 8 guys in front of me, so
right.
I preach the consistency over the, the results, all of that. And I think all of it comes together into one if we just stay consistent. And I think that's the hardest thing to do. That's why we get in our ears. We try to change something. As soon as you miss, you swing at a curveball and you look ugly, the first thing they want to do is change something. And that at bat. And it's like, no. Stick to the plan. Stick to the things that we're good at. You got fooled. So be it. Let's recognize that again and make adjustments. And those are the things that I love to see and hear people talk about as hitting coaches is how can we get these guys consistent every opportunity?
There was something Shane said to me. We were talking just back and forth a little bit. And one of the things he said he was most proud of, and we go back to Braxton because he's been with Shane for a while and he's worked on these things and he's having success. He had a great spring. He struck out one time, right?
Correct.
And that's what he told me. All the stuff, the doubles and everybody, we look at the big numbers and whatnot, but that was what Shane said to me. And I thought that really stuck in my mind because of something you said. If we're consistent, he put the ball in play. What is that? 99% of the time then, unless he walked.
Yeah.
But, right?
He wasn't throwing up balls. He's taking walks. And that's the thing I was really proud of last year at the season. He hit 331. I think he had 15, 16 home runs, close to 70 RBIs, but he walked more than he struck out. So that tells me he has got a plan. He's got a repeatable load and approach. He sees the ball really early out of the hand, and he can make good decisions. The problem is we prioritize the swing too much and not the approach enough. So you go back and you talk to a lot of big league athletes, a lot of high-level college athletes. What do you do to prep yourself? And that is mirror work. That's dry movement patterns. And, we have to change the culture in which we're trying to teach kids because we prioritize swing mechanics over, pretty much everything. So immediately, like Mitch said, they want to come back and they want to try to change something mechanically. The mechanics are not changeable unless the load is right. It's not so much a mechanical aspect, too. It's a sequence. And if the body is not in the right load or the right position to fire, the sequence will not fire. So that's where you start kind of manipulating the swing. You'll see kids hook balls, slice balls, pop balls up, swing through balls. But when I hear people talk all the time from at bat to at bat, it's inconsistency. Well, go back and look at the body of work that you're not spending in front of the mirror, doing the dry work, doing the movement pattern work, maybe some PVC work, some wall work, and just understanding that if you're not consistent with your load and your approach, you're not going to be a consistent hitter. Pitchers can't throw 300 pitches in a bullpen session every day. What people don't see is the flat ground work, the towel drills, the mirror work, the movement prep that they go through without throwing a baseball. Now they have a repeatable delivery, and their likelihood to throw consistent strikes is what keeps them at that level. There's two ways to look at it. There's hitters and there's swingers. There's pitchers, there's throwers. Hitters hit, swingers swing, and they swing and miss a lot. They roll over a lot. They pop up. Until you understand to prioritize what you really need to do, which is to work more on your load and your approach, and less just swing, you're not going to be as successful as you can be.
I keep hearing feel. All of these drills that we're doing, the looking in the mirror, it gives us feedback, right? We can see what we're talking about. At least that's how I approach mirror work. And again, when I was younger and my coach said, go look in the mirror, I always thought it was a foolish thing. Why would I look in the mirror? Now I'm preaching it because once I learned what I saw, I could feel that. And that is the PVC work. That is the core work. That is the med ball work. Everything that we're doing is a feel. And that's what I hear, when Shane's talking. I obviously understand hitting, so I hear what he's saying. And things I learned from Shane's conversations too on just how to approach the verbiage sometimes to athletes and stuff. I think I like to think that I am a decent hitting coach, right? I still like to learn. When I get to watch Shane do some things, again, sometimes it's verbiage, how to relate information. I hear him just, again, it's what we're feeling. Why take the PVC work? It's to put your body in the maximum, the best position you can be to have the most success in your swing and your body. The feel, we talked about loaded launch positions. I hit, again, going back to Mickey Templeton, to the days of George Brett, Mickey Templeton, the guys that hit weird, the Travis Frymans of the world. He brought back some good 80s and 90s baseball. Those guys hit weird in today's standard, right? It wasn't such a cookie cutter thing. I could do that because I always got in that launch position, and I could sequence the right way once I got there. No matter if I was wide like a Jeff Bagwell or flipping barrels like Barry Bonds, I could always get there.
How conventional was Gary Sheffield, but the dude raked.
Big time.
Tremendous amounts of whip.
Yeah. And he was still a high 200s, low 300s kind of hitter. And that's what people miss is everybody thought he would swing and miss. It wasn't until he got older that he swung and missed a lot. Yeah. It's just because of age got him.
Yeah.
His athleticism when he was young.
Julio Franco, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you just said, right?
I was a big fan of studying Sadahara O and understand. I learned a lot about the load through Sadahara O and understanding that it's a coil, it's not a shift back. I'm loading forward, I'm not loading back. And, you just look at different types of players everywhere, and you equate what Sadahara O did to Ichiro Suzuki. There's another guy. How many thousands of hits did that dude have? I mean, unbelievable. And, and people look at that and they go, okay, why is he doing that? Well, when you're able to break it down on the video and give them the missing frames that they don't see from a full speed swing, I mean, you start to understand a lot better. So for me, video review with my kids on a consistent basis and watching the greats is very important. But once again, it goes back to prioritizing certain things that don't get prioritized on a consistent basis.
So let's finish up today because we've talked a little bit. Did he just get cut? There he is.
Yeah, I had a phone call. Sorry about that.
It's all right. We've been talking at high level. Let's talk about, you got high school players. You got kids playing high school ball around the area. How are you seeing these kids? And you've been around watching. I've seen you post some videos and whatnot. How are they applying? Where's are you seeing this success? You seeing the things come to fruition?
Yeah, the video that I get is very, very beneficial from a standpoint of not only, just what the mechanical aspect looks like, but how are they timing it up? When are they getting started? Are they moving forward on time? Just applying the video, and we come in and we'll revideo 5 or 10 minutes before their lesson starts. And then we kind of base a game plan on what they might be struggling with. Is he struggling with the off-speed stuff? Is he, hooking balls away? So we'll kind of game plan week by week based on that. I try to get out as much as possible to see them, but I really place an emphasis for the parents to send me as many videos as they can from different angles, because you can only tell certain things from different angles. So, we try to work on that as much as possible and continue to help them, stay hot or get hot.
You want all the videos too. You want the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing is I'm like, why are you sending me all your barrels? Send me the rollovers. Send me the pop-ups. Send me the strikeouts. Don't make yourself look perfect all the time when you're hitting 380 and, it's not bad. So I want to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, because then you can reference back to what was good about this swing versus what was really bad. What was ugly? Well, I didn't get started on time. I rushed. I didn't get coiled very well. I'm not seeing the ball early enough out of the hand. So, all that stuff applies once again to what we've been talking about over and over and over. Most of the time when hitters start to go bad, it's because the load and the sequencing does not apply together. That creates timing issues, that creates, bad angles, it creates bad sequencing. So, we really try to stay on top of in-game stuff now. The off season is more, if we got stuff to rebuild, then we're going to rebuild that. You can't rebuild a swing during the season. You have to maintenance the swing. So I try to preach to them, listen, guys, you're getting enough swings in practice. You're getting enough game swings. You don't feel like you need to go home and just swing. Work on the load, work on the setup, work on the approach. That's what they need to prioritize at this point in time, because they're getting plenty of swings right now.
Man, that approach is something that it's just a lost. It's a lost thing. I think it's in club ball in general through the summer. I don't think we have enough coaches talking about that or helping kids through their at bats, just mentally, not skill set wise, not mechanically. That's Shane's job to work on. It is literally. We have kids, like he said, they get fooled. Their timing might be a little bit off, but they'll swing anyways with an 0-0 count, and they'll swing at a pitch that they felt rushed instead of learning to take that pitch and giving themselves another opportunity. That to me is that's what I stress at Timberland for our high school guys and my younger boys that I coach is it's okay to take a strike. You got two more to work with. Yes, you might get pitched differently, but at the end of the day, it gives you a chance to get a barrel on a ball versus getting jammed or, flaring that ball over to second base, popping it up, rolling it over. Approach is something that I think is definitely lost.
Absolutely. And just from a time management, it's difficult. I get it. A lot of club teams, there's multiple teams at each age level. You don't get the time to work as much from a priority standpoint with the load and stuff like that. So it just comes down to what are you doing to set your kids up for success? That's why I put together this outline. That's why I put together a drill book. That's why I prescribe drills on a weekly basis based on what we need to prioritize for each individual. It's not the same drills for every kid. So, but and going back to that, with high school hitters and, like you said, you don't just swing at the first pitch. If that's not a barrel that you can get to and that's not that's not your hot zone. It's maybe your not zone. Don't swing at it early. If it's 2 strikes, absolutely. But, it's just getting them to understand that they don't have to hit the first pitch that they see. If they know they're consistently getting jammed on balls middle in and they see a fastball middle in their first pitch and they get jammed, they roll over, you just threw that at bat right out the window. Take that for strike 1. Hunt the ball away and hit the ball the other way. So, it's just getting them to understand what to prioritize at this point in the season.
I like he said prescribed, and he's got that PhD right behind him. The development. What's interesting is that what he's saying to me is not rocket science. It is such a simple thing if these kids would just give themselves an opportunity to have that kind of IQ at the dish. And we talk about this all the time. We have a kid who gets frustrated. He'll go through a game, go 0 for 4, and he'll keep swinging at the inside fastball, but he murders a pitch away. And for some odd reason, because it's a first pitch, it's belt high, he thinks he needs to let it eat. He can't hit it, but he continues to swing at it. And you wonder why you hit 280. And get at 280 in our conference, I don't think it's too terrible, right? So we have a very tough conference in the GACs. But again, what is your mindset? What is your approach? You have got 6 doubles going the opposite field.
You might be able still to get 5-6 points on that.
Oh, you're getting more than that. I think a bloop a week gives you 30 points in the major leagues. So, to me, it's just understand
where you're good, not good.
Very good.
We scout, right? We have charts. Every high school charts now because the way conference play in our GACs, I'm not sure it's like this elsewhere, but in the GACs, we play back-to-back games against our conference opponent. So, you have information your next day. You're getting that information. Both teams should be picking on hot and cold zones, and we are pitching to those selections. We should be having those conversations with our catchers and our pitching staff to pitch against their offensive guys, right? And we know that information. We give the information, they don't use it. That's some of the biggest hurdles I have.
And to your point, I think that, last week, Francis Howell and Francis Howell Central, 7-6 ball game on Tuesday. The next day at Howell Central, 1-0. Pitchers make adjustments. You see these guys, and this is the thing. Norfleet hit a home run to win the game in the top of the 7th. So there you go, one little mistake, but that goes to your point. So the strategies, they're working, charting pitches, that. So as a hitter, you got to learn how to make those adjustments as well. Who are you seeing? And I think those things are very relative in high-level high school baseball.
Information's there.
Right. And it boils down to preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. Shane,
You know,
go ahead, bud.
no, for me, it's just all about priority. And the more we can resonate with our kids how important the little things are, I think the success rate becomes a lot greater with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good stuff. Shane Eames, PhD. Get your PhD. Go check out Shane Eames. Follow him on Facebook. Some good stuff. You can see what he's doing out there. We appreciate you coming on, sharing the knowledge. We'll be back next week with some more stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to be a hitter
pleasure.
or a young athlete. You could be a parent. You could be a coach. You could be a hitting coach. You could be a coach in a different organization. What he has got in that information can help a lot of people. So don't just sleep on it just because it's not your program or not your coach or something of that nature. Because all I've got out of Sheems is he just wants to help young men and women become better hitters.
It's what it's all about.
Don't be afraid. You can let that ego out at the door.
All right.
No,
hey,
I'm humble, grateful. I'm, in as much as people do for me, I try to do just as much for them. And networking with different coaches and instructors that come in with a mindset that why are we here? We're here to help kids. Egos aside, whatever I can do to help an individual, and I work with kids from numbers of different programs, everywhere. And that's just it there's not a kid that I will pass up on if they want to come in and they want to work and they want to learn. And, we'll diagnose what the problem might be and give them a game plan and a strategy and a blueprint to get better. And, and let's get after it. But, that's it. I mean, I love to do what I do.
very good. Guys, thanks a lot. We'll be back next week again with Shane talking some more hitting, talking some more baseball. Until that time, everybody, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and you hitters,
Hit them where they ain't.
and that's why we got Shane.
We got Shane for the doubles and dingers. He's got the wheels. Can I hit and you run?
Oh boy, that's ugly. I don't know. We're getting worn out, man.
Well, how about we just hit and let the kids run? We got younger people out there.
Yeah, we'll turn it and burn it. They can run. That'll
Right.
be fine.
Because I can still swing it.
If it goes out,
Fair enough. Flip
We'll
it.
see you all next time.